Decluttering, you know what? It will not fix your life. It's the truth. You've been sold a fantasy through books, influencers, home makeover shows, and 1,000 Instagram posts that if you just throw away enough stuff, if you finally organize your makeup, if your closet looks like a showroom, then suddenly everything else is going to fall into place. Your anxiety is going to vanish, your relationships will blossom, and you'll become focused and productive and serene, and you'll become lovable, and somebody really amazing will come along by magic, and you'll become the person you were always meant to be. But that's not quite how healing works. Decluttering feels like transformation, but in most cases, it's an action, it's good, but it can just be rearranging the furniture on the ship. It's a distraction. It's a stand-in for the deeper facing and expressing and releasing what is really driving you inside. The fear and the anger that is like keeping you blocked and cluttering and sort of unable to cope with the outward expression of your life. The space, the emotions, the thinking that are just building up and up and up with more information and materials and objects than you know what to do with. So decluttering becomes symbolic. It's a substitution that lets you feel as if you're making progress, while underneath, nothing fundamental is actually changing. Now, I'm not knocking it. My most popular video is it's clutter as a trauma symptom. Like today, as I'm taping this, it's had like 4.7 million views. I love the success of that video. I love it. But I'm saying it's a symptom, and there's actions you can take to start dealing with it. But it's a symptom of trauma. And when you heal your trauma, decluttering starts to become possible and starts to happen naturally. That's kind of where I'm coming from. So when I say, decluttering, it's just like a fantasy. Nobody really wants to hear that, because decluttering, it looks so good online and it feels good. And, that's not an accident. When you remove visual chaos, your nervous system relaxes, even just a little bit. You feel lighter, more spacious. But that calm you feel, it's not the same thing as inner peace. It's relief. It's atmospheric peace. It's a good thing. But there's a big difference between that kind of peace and like the peace that comes from no longer being filled with conflict in your life and in your heart. Relief is temporary. It's the absence of stimulation. Peace is internal. And you don't get to peace by controlling your environment. You get there by facing the very things that you're trying to avoid. There's the question, what are you avoiding? So a messy house is not a moral failing. It often goes with moral failings. I grew up in a very messy house that turned into a full-on, class 1 clutter house after I left home. But a tidy house doesn't mean everything's perfect. It's not a badge of worth. People with trauma often confuse the two. And we're taught to feel shame when things are out of order. When we were kids, right? A messy room could mean, you're punished, you're grounded, you're humiliated. And as adults, we carry that shame forward. So we strive to make things look good. I mean, I couldn't bring people home to my house. It was so cluttered, and not just cluttered, but like rotten food in the fridge, dirty countertops. Sponges that you couldn't touch, let alone touch to dishes. It's just gross, right? So you could understand how, having a tidy space does lift my spirits, does create a good environment for me to become more of the person that I'm capable of being. But it's that becoming that is the healing. And the space that feels good, that I don't feel shame about, is basically like permission to move forward, right? Now, some people, they become obsessed with cleaning, and I hear that a lot from people here too. Like they express their trauma by they can't really stop. They're over-functioning with cleaning. The moment something's out of place, there's this deep, fear. It creeps in. What if I'm not good enough? What if someone sees this and judges me? What if I'm just like my mom? What if this means I'm broken? So that's the hidden link between clutter and self-worth. You may think that you're just cleaning, but really, you're managing your fear of being unlovable, of not being able to handle life, or not being out of control of your destiny. And this is why decluttering is both good, but at a certain point it becomes an obsession or a fetish. It's like a fetish. You know those like photographic backdrops that people use on Zoom or they use on Instagram, and they're sort of sitting in front of this fake perfect house? I don't know, the perfect background is very uncomfortable for me to look at. I like the warmth and human handsness of an actual room with a bit of unevenness to it, a bit of clutter, and the sweetness of a room that has things in it and they're not exactly in the right place. There's a humanity to that feels creative and possible. So you don't have to be like me. I think some people, it just is worth it to have things very clean or sterile. And other people, like, they just truly don't care. They're being creative right now. And I'll tell you, when I was writing my book, my office, it was like what's the animal that shreds up paper and piles it up everywhere, like a gerbil? That was me. I just had like paper all over the place. I thought I might need this. I'm going to make all these piles everywhere, and I couldn't even walk there. And then when the book was done, I took it all and it all went into the recycling bin, all of it. It was so great. It was just done. I think I'm showing my age, though, that I like to have printed documents to look at, right? So that can get very cluttered for me. I like to take notes. I write my fears and resentments. That generates paper. I shred that up. But I take a lot of notes. And then sometimes I'm really busy and I want to have a quiet time in the morning to go through my notes and my plans and some bills or whatever I've got. And I've got this box that I keep things in. I've got this other box that my husband set up, and it's a box with a lid where he can just put my things, my gerbil things. There's some lipstick in there and some, random keys and some stickers and I don't know what, the car registration from last year and some things I really want to file. But it's in a box, and that's how we avoid having it be cluttery. And when I can make time, or when I'm actually like desperate to find something, I'll look in the box and I'll go, there's my laptop charger. So that's how we roll. Everybody's a little different. We have different settings. And if you're in a couple, you probably each have different settings on how much clutter is okay and when is it time to just get the place clean and declutter. So when it becomes an obsession, and it's taking you out of your relationships and you just can't feel any kind of, you can't sleep at night, it just bothers you so much, then it's just gone too far. So the stakes can feel high if you have a lot of shame about mess and what happened to you in the past. Hey, I've got a quick invite for you. I made a free daily practice course that shows you 2 simple techniques to calm the storm when you're triggered inside. It's short, it's powerful, and it helps you feel clearer, more focused, and more at ease, fast. Click the second link in the description section below, or use the QR code right there, and you can start your course right away. It's not just about stuff, though, is it? It's about identity, really. It's about proving to yourself and other people that you're okay, that you have it together, that your life is not falling apart. You're not one of those people. You're not like your parents. So you throw things out, you color code the drawers, you vacuum the baseboards. I've had very brief moments of this in my life. I don't think it's ever gone to problem level, but I know it has for many people here. Deep down, you're terrified that if you stop, the truth is going to catch up to you. And here's what almost nobody tells you. Decluttering can become a trauma response, right? People with trauma often need to feel in control. So sometimes we can't really manage all that activity, that there's some sort of like torpor that comes over us when we think about even trying. And, with true hoarding, there's that attachment to the objects. But there's this other side of it where traumatized people can just feel like an intense need to feel that they have control over the environment. So when the world's been unsafe, when it's been unpredictable and chaotic, we turn to rituals of order. Not because we're neat freaks, not because we love minimalism, sounds good, right? But because in a disordered world, control equals safety. And when emotions feel too big to handle, we turn to the things that we can handle, the dishes, the socks, the to-do list. And then we feel like we're getting somewhere. They just regenerate though, don't they? So you think you're being productive, but really you're avoiding. You're avoiding grief, you're avoiding closeness with other people, avoiding anger, avoiding the reality that some things in your life are just not going well, and they never did go well. Loss is on the horizon. You can scrub the floor until it's perfect, but it won't make your heartbreak disappear. And you can purge every closet, but it won't heal the emotional neglect or give you that freedom from shame that you crave. You can create the most perfect home, but it won't erase the ache of not being chosen, of not being protected, of not being loved the way that you needed to be loved. And still you keep decluttering because for a moment it helps. Yeah, okay. It gives you a rush. It's a brief kind of high. It gives you a hit of control and a feeling that you're, fixing your life, that you're strong, that you're rising above the chaos. But it's like any other coping mechanism. The high doesn't last. The feelings return. The shame comes settling back down heavily upon you, right? And soon the clutter comes back too. So you go back in, do another purge, another round of, does this spark joy in me? Or another checklist or another box of donations. But it's never enough because the problem was never the stuff. The problem is the pain, the backlog of emotion that you've never processed, the parts of yourself that you've shoved down and denied and abandoned and kind of vaguely thought that somehow in the future you would be able to do better than this. The fears that you pretend aren't there, the sadness you carry, just without telling anybody, hoping it's going to just go away by itself. That's the real mess, isn't it? It's not the junk drawer. It's not the attic. It's the internal weight that you've been hauling for years. And that's what's really overwhelming you. And if you never stop to face, that weight, you'll keep trying to fix your life from the outside in, and it won't work. You'll keep organizing, but you'll still feel anxious. You'll keep simplifying, but you'll still feel heavy. You'll keep trying to be clean in a world that keeps getting dirty, and you'll think that something's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just trying to survive in the only way you know how. And here's the truth. Peace does not come from a perfect home. It comes from a regulated nervous system, from honest relationships, from grieving what you've lost, from honoring what you never got, from telling the truth about your life. Decluttering might give you a moment of calm, but real peace, that comes from the hard work. The boring, painful, unglamorous process of sitting down and writing the feelings and the thoughts that are troubling you, facing them, asking for them to be removed, resting in meditation, naming it, and letting yourself cry if you need to. Crying while you're writing it, it's the best kind of thing. It's like sweet and cleansing tears. Hey, it's me, and real fast, if you're watching my videos and wondering if maybe past trauma is having an effect on your life today, I want to share with you a list of signs that what you're struggling with now might be connected with neglect or abuse in your childhood. It's good to know this because it can help you know that what's hard for you right now is normal and that healing is possible. You can download my Signs of Childhood PTSD quiz by clicking the top link in the description section below or using that QR code right there. So that's the work. That's the decluttering that actually changes you because you can't out-organize your trauma. You can't sort your way to self-worth. You can't file your way to secure attachment, everything in there. Healing isn't about eliminating discomfort. It's about discovering what that trigger is that throws you into a state of discomfort and allows you to set a boundary and avoid it if you want to, learn to tolerate it if you want, play it by ear, but not to go into a deep avoidance through outside, activities that are meant to pull you out of yourself rather than face it. Facing it is very, very powerful. And sometimes that means letting the house be a mess while you sit and write your fears and resentments. It's, you're letting the laundry sit while you cry. Even if it's already wet and it's in the dryer and it's going to stink, you're going to wash it again in hot water. Okay? Have that cry. Let the dishes pile up while you sit on the floor and breathe through, a panic attack, and then get out your pen and paper and keep going. That's not failure. That is progress. So if you're in that place where your house feels overwhelming and you think the only way out is to throw everything away, I want you to pause, look inward, ask yourself, what fearful or resentful feelings and thoughts am I trying to, put away somewhere, get rid of? What is the story I'm telling myself about what, the clutter means. Am I using this as a tool for healing, or is it a mask to hide behind? Am I just distracting? Because decluttering, it's totally awesome. It can be useful. It can create space. It can support your nervous system, but only when it's rooted in love, really. It's an outflowing of love from you to the space you live in. And it can be done gently, and it can be done in good cheer, and it can be done slowly, and from a place of wholeness, not shame, not desperation, not trying to run away from the past. You don't have to get rid of everything to find peace. You just have to stop running. The mess will always come back. That's life. People live here. Children play. Projects pile up. Grief hits. The seasons change. Your energy rises and your energy falls. That's not a failure of discipline. That's the rhythm of being alive. And when you stop making your worth depend on how clean your home is, you get to enjoy your life. You get to rest. You get to be messy, and you get to connect with people. You get to be human. Your home does not need to be perfect to be sacred. You don't need to be minimal to be free. You don't need to purge everything to feel new. You only need to be honest with yourself. What is disturbing me right now? Am I willing and able to get it onto paper and release it? I'm talking about my daily practice techniques, by the way. If you haven't learned to use them, they're always down in the description section, the second link, okay, beneath the video. So you can work with your patterns and change them with the parts of you that still think a perfect environment is finally going to make you feel like a really great gal or guy, right? You've always been good enough. You always have. And even with the mess, even with your clutter, even with the unfinished corners of your life, that's what nobody tells you. That the peace and the worthiness that you're looking for is already here. It's underneath the noise. It's underneath the panic. It's underneath the urge to clean until until there's nothing to feel ashamed of anymore. It's there. That peace is there. It's quiet. It's waiting. It's ready for you to stop striving every minute and just come home to yourself and take it easy. I felt like something was chasing me, and I gave a name to it. I call it a pack of wolves. It was emotion, and that's what was coming to get me. And it was a feeling, usually sadness.